I'm going to change this a little bit so I don't have to talk straight at my face. Take a little break from talking about racism and kind of go back to some basics, kind of a review. Sometimes it's fun to talk about things that are well understood by Zen students, but to revisit them. And, sometimes I find for myself that revisiting them and using maybe different language to talk about them is helpful for my increasing understanding. So, and the inspiration came from when I've been taking my walks recently, and I've been listening to a book about the fire at Tassajara in 2008. And Tassajara is Tassajara Zen Mountain Center, which is located in the Ventana Wilderness on the kind of mid coast of California. And it's very wild. It's extremely steep and remote. Tassajara was founded by Shunryu Suzuki Roshi in the late 60s as the first training monastery for Zen priests in the United States. And its remoteness is one of the attractions about it, because traditionally training monasteries or Zen monasteries in general would be located remotely from the city, from the marketplace. So that was one of the factors that caused them to choose this place, a very, very interesting, beautiful place. But it is remote and hard to access. The book is called Fire Monks, and it's by Colleen Morton Bush, who is married to my colleague, John Bush. Some of you have met John, and some of you have met Colleen for that matter. It's a fascinating story, and it's enjoyable to me, especially because I know or knew some of the characters, the people that actually were there at the time. And some of them stayed and fought the fire. And the book is laced throughout with Zen teaching. So the passage that inspired me to review the classic Zen teachings on faith, doubt, and effort was the thing that caught my attention. And as you know, it's said that to follow the way of Buddha requires great effort. I mean, great faith, great doubt, and great effort. In the West, we tend to conflate faith with belief and religiosity, especially belief in a deity and other metaphysical entities and processes and even locations that are thought to have some kind of reality that can't be perceived by normal existence, by our existence. And this belief in itself is considered to be salvific. That is, that it is the source of salvation. That is, if you believe in God, you are saved and you will go to heaven and abide in God's presence forever. But faith in the Zen tradition is quite different, and it doesn't require belief at all. The Buddha advised that we each find out the truth for ourselves, not necessarily believing something that we've heard or read, or even that an authority has told us, but rather, and this is a quote from the book, after observation and analysis, when you find that anything agrees with reason and is conducive to the good and benefit of one and all, then accept it and live up to it. And I think that the faith in part is about the acceptance and the living up to it. When I first began to study Zen, I found this quite challenging. I found this idea of faith quite challenging because I was deeply steeped in the Catholic Christian approach of belief. And I was disturbed that I was being disloyal to Catholic teaching by practicing Zen, and or being disloyal to Zen by being a committed Catholic. because belief is perhaps the core practice of being a Catholic Christian. And as part of our weekly attendance at Mass, we're required to, we recite a prayer called the Creed, the Apostles' Creed. And the word creed itself means a set of beliefs, from the Latin word credo, which means I believe, and is the first word of the prayer. Credo, I believe. And the prayer sets out, the creed prayer sets out the fundamental sets of beliefs that are required of a Christian. And the first required belief is a belief in God. But Zen has no such requirement. There is no God language at all, and really no required belief in anything at all, instead, including Zen teaching. Instead, there's another kind of faith that is more akin to trust or confidence. And it was scary for me at first to consider abandoning belief. But then I found it quite freeing, realizing that God concepts, as all concepts from the Zen point of view are, they are inherently confining and limited. They are mere mental acts limiting the possible. Instead, Zen faith is open, investigating, unconfined, liberated. Thich Nhat Hanh says, do not be idolatrous or bound to any doctrine, any theory or ideology, even Buddhist ones. Buddhist systems of thoughts are guiding means. They are not absolute truth. Practice is the center of Zen, not belief. We just sit down, listen, and attend, opening to what is. We find out for ourselves what is trustworthy. And it's interesting to me to hear how different people find their way to Zen. When I got my first computer in the 70s, 80s, I guess, 80s, my friend Roger, who was the Mac specialist at Fresno State at the time, gave me my first password, seeker. And I was teased for being a seeker, a seeker of wisdom and truth. I couldn't help it, and because it seemed to be built in. And it's interesting when we hear people's way-seeking mind talks, it's interesting to see how that tendency to seek works in people in varying ways. So if you've heard way-seeking mind talks, you know what I'm talking about. Something innate in the person, something that pushes or pulls. The Hound of Heaven, if you remember that poem from high school, always there, never giving up. My teacher Grace used to talk about faith in this way. Something brings you to Zen and you try it out. Maybe you see a quality in a Zen practitioner that attracts you, some calm, some authenticity, some seriousness, some openness, some dedication. And it feels like home, and it feels like acceptance. So maybe at first you tentatively invest some trust in something unknown that person or those people seem to possess. But as you continue to practice, you come to trust the practice itself. The practice becomes a refuge for you that you trust implicitly. And you investigate, you discuss, you read, you seek counsel, and you discern, and you come to trust an internal process, not something outside of yourself. You come to trust bodhicitta, the heart mind of awakening, your own bodhicitta, your own life as the Buddha, the awakened one. You come to trust the teachings, the guides, and the teachers, the guides whom you trust and encounter and consult. You come to trust the community of people who are trying to live the awakened life. And interestingly, it seems contradictory, but doubt is also important and necessary to faith. Sharon Salzberg, a Vipassana teacher, says it this way: in order to deepen our faith, we have to be able to try things out, to wonder, to doubt. In fact, faith is strengthened by doubt. When doubt is a sincere critical questioning combined with a deep trust in our own right and ability to discern the truth. In Buddhism, this kind of questioning is known as skillful doubt or great doubt. For doubt to be skillful, we have to be close enough to an issue to care about it, yet open enough to let questioning come alive. As we continue to practice, this doubt extends to penetrating the certainties that we carry about the illusion of the self, asking us to question our most cherished notions about who we are, gradually risking to dismantle that which we most tenaciously protect, ourself. This kind of trusting faith and this skillful doubt leads us to a place of calm abiding in the unknowability of life itself and in our place in it. And developing faith, practicing doubt, both require great effort. And this isn't the terribly overly strenuous effort, but it's the continual diving in, swimming in the stream. Dogen speaks of practicing as if your hair is on fire, with a kind of urgency. There's no time to waste, that you dive into time, moment by moment, and that the great matter won't watch while we watch TV and crack corn nuts. In Zen monasteries, every evening at dusk, there is this chant: let me respectfully remind you, life and death are of supreme importance. Time passes swiftly and opportunity is lost. Let us awaken, awaken, take heed. Do not squander your life. I think that great effort also implies wholeheartedness. Zen is not a contractual religion where we obey rules to gain the reward of heaven. So if I come to church on Sunday, that's all I have to do, and the rest of the time I can skate. Instead, Zen asks us to let the practice penetrate the very marrow of our lives, enlivening the most mundane of activities: fetching wood and carrying water, doing the laundry, writing a note of condolence, feeding the cat, taking a test, answering the phone, being completely present in every moment. So, great faith, great doubt, great effort. So take a few minutes to gather your thoughts. How do you show up for your life?